What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fish and Friends with Danny and Gina. I'm Danny, and Gina will unfortunately not be joining us today because her son is in the hospital. Um, he's doing okay, but he's been in the hospital for a day or two now, and his his blood work is showing some imbalances and stuff, and he's just super weak. But all in all, he's doing okay and should be fine, hopefully, once they figure out what's going on. But yeah, you got me. So what's up? Little skull guy says hi. Teeny tiny skull guy says hi. But none of y'all have said hi yet. What's up? Ah, yeah. I played in a golf tournament today, and that was fun. I only play golf one time a year, and it's for the well, I went to church there for a long time, but I'm not religious anymore. But my parents still go to church there, and my brother and stuff. So it's their golf tournament, and so it's like a fundraiser thing or whatever. And there's also a chance to win like cool prizes and stuff. And it's fun to just play golf every now and then. I kind of wish I could get out and play golf a little bit more, but I don't know. I don't always get that opportunity. I don't know a lot of other people that play golf. And going on the weekend, it always is a whole lot busier or something. My dad likes to go during the week when it's not so busy. And I can't. At least not right now. We'll see what happens with my future job. Because, yeah, I still am going to be out of a job come beginning of November. And I still don't know what I'm going to do yet. I was playing on my brother-in-law was on my scramble team today at the golf tournament. So we talked a little bit about, the plan to purchase the hardware store from my cousin and, take it over and all that stuff. Apparently they're going to sit down in like a week or something like that. So that's pretty cool. So they can talk numbers and stuff. But something else I don't think I talked about last week was that if the original plan was, they have so much money or whatever, so it's like either buy the hardware store, and if they can't buy the hardware store just for whatever reason, they were going to take that money and they were going to buy like 10 to 50 acres of property. Try to buy already, like relatively flat, just open property. Hopefully not a whole bunch of stuff that's super wooded over. I mean, you obviously want some woods, but not the whole thing just like covered in woods, because then it costs a whole lot of money to get all those trees removed because we want to turn it into like, farmland. But what they were talking about, which would be really awesome. And honestly, I'm just like, I guess flattered is the right word to use, but or at least it's the only word I can think of that is like kind of what I am trying to say. I feel like flattered that like my sister and my brother-in-law have considered that, you know, I am a good person to have on the compound, um, and all that, so that they want to actually help me out as well, um, to be able to like help me build a tiny home or whatever on their property so that I can, sell this house and use the profits on this house to, also, build the tiny home and all that stuff. And also, be like debt free. So that'd be pretty sweet. Um, and I was kind of talking to my brother-in-law too. It's just like, I'm totally down with the tiny home, like maybe like 20 foot by 12 foot. Like I don't even need something like super huge, but I want a basement. Like if I'm having a tiny home, I want a basement so that, you know, I have like extra storage and whatever else. Like that's really all I need. Um, but when it comes down to it, because of like geothermals and all other sorts of stuff, like I don't know all the names and stuff off the top of my head, but there's a whole bunch of reasons as to why like it's so much better to build into the ground than it is to build like up high. So I would like to have like a decent basement underneath my tiny home. Like maybe not make it like a full on bunker, like but you know, kind of like a bunker. Eh, maybe go full bunker. I don't know. But I want a basement in my tiny home. I have gone without a basement in this house. I'm not sure if you can hear my bird in the background or not. He's whistling away. Um, I I've gone without a basement, in this house, and it is nice to not have to worry about any sort of like leaking in my basement or foundation problems, whatever, and all that stuff. But if we're starting from scratch and you know, building from nothing, we're doing it ourselves, sort of thing, or whatever, like, I shouldn't have any sort of like foundation leaking or whatever. Like, it should be a while before that happens. So it was sounding like a bug. Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, what I mean is, I want it to be kind of like a bunker. A basement would be like a bunkered sort of basement would be cool, but I don't know if we're going to be able to make it like an actual like nuclear shelter qualified sort of bunker. Like, I don't know if I can do like 10-foot thick concrete, you know, and all that other sort of stuff that you would need to make an actual bunker. But I mean, like, yeah, like, so the top level would be like a small like entryway area, then a kitchen, and then like the bathroom, right? All like the plumbing and all that stuff would be on the top level, so that you can access it from underneath and whatever else. And then on the base in the basement, that's where like my bedroom slash like man cave living room would be. So like I would have like maybe like a Murphy style bed that folds up, and like a couch, and my big screen TV, and my computer set up and all that stuff down in the basement. And then like, yeah, the top level is all business, like the necessary stuff, the kitchen, the toilet, and all that stuff, because it's easier to have all the plumbing in one area, so have the kitchen and the bathroom like right next to each other, and then like have a third room up there that's just like a nice room, like maybe have a chair or two or something in there to kind of like guide people in or whatever. And then I would also have a loft above. The loft would be for like storage and stuff. Maybe have the second loft on the other side or whatever be. I could have a bed up there too if I needed to. But then like, yeah, I want to have a basement. And yeah, I would like to have at least one loft, like a tall ceiling that goes. Maybe I want the walls to still be vertical, but I want the roof to go all the way to the ground, so that I don't have to worry about like a gutter system per se, and I can actually have like grass grow on the roof, like like an old Viking house. Or in like this, they do this in Norway. I just searched Norway grass roof, but like that. But I would have mine probably go like all the way to the ground, most likely. Though you don't necessarily have to. But how cool is that? Having like a grass roof. That one's pretty sweet. That one too. But yeah, so something, kind of tiny, just like that. That has a little basement underneath. Yeah. It's perfect. Gosh, that's the dream right there. Did I? No, not bad at all. I think those houses are awesome. Though I do wonder, after looking at all those pictures and stuff, like I wonder what like the technology is of that roof. Like, do they line it with just like wood, or is it like a metal roof that then they've put a whole bunch of dirt and like walls? Like, now I got to look it up again. So a sod roof or a turf roof is a Scandinavian type of green roof covered with sod on top of several layers of birch bark on gently sloping wooden roof boards. Wow, so it's actually just all wood. I feel like that would just like eventually rot. Helps compress the lines. Hmm. The birch bark underneath ensures that the roof will be waterproof. Okay. The term sod roof is somewhat misleading as the active watertight element of the roof is birch bark. The main purpose of the sod is to hold the birch bark in place. The roof might just as well have been called birch bark roof, but its grassy outward appearance is the reason for its name in Scandinavian languages. Okay. Hmm. I wonder if there's a way to do it without like the birch bark, or like a more like modern way of doing it. Like I don't know. I was only kidding. Some of these old solutions wasn't always super good, like the ventilation. Although timber houses often auto ventilate, from what I know. Hmm. Yeah, that's what windows are for, ventilation. Oh, I think a side roof would be cool. Birch bark roof, whatever. That I want that. I want grass on my roof. I think that'd be sweet. And then have a big old farm, do all that. The fireplace smoke poisoning the lungs of humans. Oh, the ventil. Yeah, like build a really good fireplace, that ventilates properly. Um, and the fireplace would be in the basement, actually, um, because the heat rises. So as it warms up the basement will warm up the top floor as well. And yeah, it's gonna be, man, like I'm trying not to like get my hopes up because I feel like if I guess it's not gonna happen, but it's like also just like super exciting to think about because like if I could truly live my life like debt free without like having to pay for like a mortgage and all that stuff, like and being able to like raise and grow my own food and make a bunch of homemade stuff like soap and all that stuff, like the whole idea of having a job would be like totally different because I wouldn't need nearly as much money for like anything. Living in like a community style area where we all like take care of each other. That'd be awesome. I know I was like, utopia can't exist or whatever. There's still, taxes and all that other stuff and insurance. There's certain things you can't just completely go without. But man, we have one small timber house and two regular houses in the middle of Sweden where my mother was born. In the bigger house, close to nature, beautiful summertime, rainy plus dark fall and winter. Oh, beautiful summertime, rainy and dark fall and winter. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. For for a second, I didn't quite understand what you were trying to say. Yeah. Nice. See, here where I'm at, in Missouri, I experienced some of the craziest weather. Um, Sometimes our weather is like, I don't know, the stereotypical stuff that you see on TV or whatever, where it's like spring is nice and beautiful with all the flowers and all that stuff. Summer is hot. Fall, all the leaves fall and everything turns brown and stuff. And then winter's cold and all that stuff. But sometimes, like, it'll be like super cold in the morning and then it'll be like super hot in the afternoon. And, there's been days that we've experienced all four seasons in one day, it seems like, where it started out with like snow and frost on the ground in the morning. And then, like, in the later morning, it was actually fall, so you see like the fall, like all the leaves and stuff on the ground. And then, like, later in the day, all of a sudden it was like 70 degrees, and it's just like, what the hell is going on? And then it rained in the evening, and so yeah, I don't know, there's just a whole bunch of craziness. They have this saying in St. Louis that just like, if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes, it'll change. My grandpa worked in the forest but moved to work in Stockholm in the 1950s. I think oh, cool. Man, I would love to live in the same sort of footsteps as like my grandfather. And maybe it's too late for me to have like, well, it's not too late, but I mean, maybe I don't have like the giant family and all the kids and all this stuff. Maybe I don't get married or whatever. I don't know what's gonna happen as far as that goes, because I don't know. There's just not some good options out there, it seems like. But I would like to follow in his footsteps as far as, you know, owning and working at his hardware store, and, having land and building my own house, and, you know, maybe raising a family in that house and whatever else. And I say tiny house, but I don't think I'm gonna actually do like a tiny house. But I mean, like, a small house, like some of those tiny houses where they're living in like a 10 by 15 foot area or something like that. Like they're living in like a shed. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But like, oh, let me think for a second here. Um, maybe 15 foot by 24 foot or something like that. I could probably do that. 20 to 24 foot long and 15 foot wide. Because I don't need a whole bunch of rooms like side by side. I just need them like, yeah. So like the organization, so it's like I would have the door on like center in the front with like two windows, right? And so it's like you walk into the house and there's like a little walk-in area and like a wall in front of you with like a little like hallway that goes back on the right side. Maybe have like some pictures up and some different stuff. Just like a nice little small room to kind of welcome you into the house. And then when you go through the hallway, there's a door on your left that goes into the bathroom. And then you go through the back and you are in the kitchen where there's like a small little kitchen area. And then if you go all the way back, that's where you have the steps that go down into the basement. And then the basement is just one big open room that is like my man cave bedroom. And that's really all I need. Like maybe have some storage on like the back side of the kitchen or whatever else. But then like there's a loft above all that too. Like, cause the wall, like there'll be like when you walk in, you just have the wall, but then there'll be the loft above that. So that would be all for like storage and stuff. At least things that can be stored up there. But then again, it's like I don't need a whole bunch of crap. Especially living out in like my own like little area. It's not like there's gonna be, I don't know. What do I need to like get a whole bunch of like decorations for or whatever? Like I can decorate the inside and make that look all nice and stuff, but I don't need like 1,000 Halloween decorations, I'll keep what I have already. And like, yeah. But what I mean, I'll have to maybe get rid of some of these fish tanks, but yeah, I could have a bunch of fish tanks down in like the basement area too. That'd be open enough to have some fish tanks in my bedroom / living room / man cave area. A lot of young couples try to move back to the countryside and grow their own food, but it's hard only for some. Same here. Often in April, rain, snow, sun, warm. Yeah. April weather, yeah. Sometimes we get falls here in St. Louis. We already have had 2 falls now, where the weather drops and you have lows in like the 40, lows in like the 50s in the morning and highs in like the low 70s and stuff. And then all of a sudden you have some days where it gets up in the 80s and maybe even 90 again after that. And then you have false fall number 2. And that's what we just went through was false fall number 2, actually, because it got warm again today. And I think we got maybe a 3rd false fall coming up again. Or I don't know. It's last year it wasn't this warm in October. Because yeah, it's already October 5th. Like last year it wasn't as warm in that golf tournament as it was this year. I was definitely not sweating last year. maybe by like the end or something like that, and like the heat of the day, it was a little warm, but in the morning it was nice and chill. I remember going out in like a jacket and stuff, and taking off my jacket, you know, later after a few holes or something like that. Oh yeah, the mobile homes, and most of the things you need, then travel around and rent place to par for yeah. See, I am not. I'm not a vagabond. I don't have that travel need. You know, I have I have traveled a lot in my time already, and it is nice to take a vacation. And like I didn't go this past year, or I didn't go this year or whatever to the Keystone Clash, but last year I went to the Keystone Clash, and I like to do that sort of thing or whatever. Do that and take a little road trip and rent a hotel for a while, and then. But I am very much a introverted, like let me go back home, sort of like homebody, like nester. I want to find a really nice place and just stay there. Like that's what really sucks about how the company that I work for going out of business. Because I really enjoy my job. I make enough money to do what I need to do. And now I have to find something else. And it sucks. Because I pretty much found like the perfect job, like something that I thought I could sit and stay with. And like it would be good and I'd be fine. And maybe eventually the economy would turn around and people would start to buy more and I'd start to make even more money down the road. But no, they're going out of business instead. And now I have to find something else. I freaking hate it. Because there's nothing out there like my job. And I love my coworkers and all this different stuff. And I love my customers. And it just sucks that I like have to say goodbye to all these people. And I have to find another job where I have to meet all new people. And I have to try to seem normal to those people. And who knows, maybe they're the type of people that get super offended by everything to where all of a sudden I'm stuck having to keep my mouth shut all the time again because I can't just like speak freely without offending somebody or whatever. Like, I don't want to work at Target again for sure. But it's like I don't have my boss always on my shoulder, like looking over things and checking over things and whatever else. Like my boss is there. I still have a manager and we go over sales and we go over things that maybe I can try to get better at and whatever else. But after our morning meeting and we talk about stuff as a whole group or whatever, and sometimes maybe have a little individual conversation if we need one. But after that, I hop in the truck with all my merchandise full of like my little frozen grocery store, and it's just me and my truck. And I got my list of customers, and sometimes they pre-order, but it's just me and my truck, and I go out and I just talk to people and knock on doors and deliver their orders and talk about the food and show them new stuff, and then hop after I sell stuff or whatever, then I hop back in the truck, crank up KC95 and rock out on my way to my next customer and do the same thing. And it's like about half of my customers are like the coolest people ever, where I just love to talk to them. They're super nice. And just the interaction just makes both of us just feel so good, because it's just positive energy about delicious food, and we're all happy because I'm making money and I'm talking to cool people, and they're getting their delicious food, and I guess I'm making them happy too. And then like hop back in the truck and I rock back out on the radio, get myself in the zone for the next one. I do wish I had more time though. And now, like, maybe I can find a job that I do still enjoy, but maybe I have more time. Maybe I can actually put myself on a 40-hour work week again. Well, not maybe. I sure hope I can put myself on a 40-hour work week again. That'd be nice to be able to work 40 hours and make just as much money as I make now. Because I work at least 50 hours a week, at least 50 hours a week. That is the minimum amount that I can work, is 50 hours a week, because of the way that like our business hours are scheduled. And so if I go in at 8 a.m. and I'm not allowed to clock out until after 6 p.m., like that's 10 hours. But then if I have, more stops, or sometimes I get stuck at stops or whatever, sometimes I might work an hour later or even an hour and a half later. Because we've been going out of business, I've had some of the latest days that I've ever had this week. I also had the most amount of sales this week that I've ever had. I sold $9,000. I sold over $9,000, actually. I was really hoping to sell $10,000, because that would give me an even higher bonus level. But the way that my pay works is I get a daily base pay, and then I get commission on top of that. And then the commission is based off of the sales. Certain levels of sales give you a higher level of commission. So I'm pretty sure, since I got over $9,000, I think I get the full 9% commission. So that boosts my paycheck like crazy, because I normally only get 3% commission. So, 9% of $9,000, you do the math, that's extra money being put right on my paycheck. And then we have this extra thing going on right now that it used to be it was like a quarterly thing or whatever, or maybe it was monthly, that if you made a certain amount of sales monthly, you would get certain club level bonuses and stuff. And since we're closing down, they turned that into weekly. So since I made twice as much money as I normally make, actually, when all the percentages and stuff are going to come out, probably my paycheck next week, since I get paid every week, my paycheck next week is probably going to be twice the paycheck that I normally get, which I'm super excited about. But man, I worked some long days. there was like 2 different days this week that I didn't get back home until 8 p.m. So I didn't leave work until like 7:30. So that's crazy. If you're a nice guy, which you are, and being serious, mouth to mouth will spread and give you more jobs. Perhaps do it with already settled. Oh, you're saying like the tank maintenance, leasing tanks? Yeah, animal maintenance is good money if you can get. Yeah, I thought about that. Um, there was a time that I was wanting to actually start my own business that I was talking about, where I would, you know, I was thinking about more like for people's houses, but I could even do like businesses or whatever, where, yeah, set up a really nice planted tank, have them, pay a certain amount of money for all the supplies, and I get them a really nice planted tank, set that all up, and then they pay me like a weekly fee, or maybe even a bi-week. Set it up just like the landscaping business, right? My aquascaping business. So they'll have either a weekly maintenance schedule or a bi-weekly maintenance schedule, where I come by and, for 30 minutes or an hour, however long it takes, I do a really good water change, and trim up the plants and whatever else, and make sure everything is looking good and healthy. But other than that, they're responsible for, taking care of the fish, the feeding and all that sort of thing. I thought about doing that. Um, yeah, I would definitely have to start small and I have to build bigger. But the problem is, I don't think the economy as it is ready for that sort of business right now. Um, Everybody is holding on to everything they got. They're not wanting to have any sort of subscription service that they don't really need. And, trying to convince somebody that they need a fish tank in their house for me to take care of. I don't know. It's not as easy. I never really thought I would ever get into sales, and I don't really like sales that much. The only reason I'm good at the sales part of what I do now is because I just really enjoy the food. Um, I love the food. I grew up on it, and so it's easy to sell. And I'm sorry to do this, but I'm going to have to step away for a second. So enjoy the blank screen. Okay. Sorry about that. Streamyard updated its like some of its software where you can now in video clips you can set an actual intro and outro video. So I've had several different like videos or whatever that I can use and different little clips. One of my favorites.
Emotional damage.
Those are always fun. But, when it came to the intro and the outro videos, you'd have to like time it yourself. You'd have to like hit the live button and try to like, as soon as you see the live thing go, then you hit the video. And so sometimes you'd hit it early, sometimes you'd hit it late, and you'd like have the video start with just like sort of stare looking on your face as you're like trying to click on the thing. And so anyway, so that's why I always, when it came to my intro, I always said something. Sorry. With my intro, I always like said something at the beginning, like, hello, it's time for fishing friends. And then I would click on the intro, because it's easier to do that than to just time it perfectly. But now it does it automatically. You can set an intro and an outro. And like when you hit go live, as soon as you go live, it starts the intro video. And I'm sure when I end it, it's going to do the same thing with the outro, which is pretty sweet because with the outro, you have to try to time that too. What I mean is, for those of you that don't use StreamYard and don't stream, there's like a little delay. Like you hit end stream, and then there's like a little pull down thing. It's like, are you sure you want to end stream? And you have to like hit end stream again. And when you do that, there's like a 2 to 3 second delay in there before the stream actually stops. At least it seems like there is. I'm not sure if there is or not. Maybe as soon as you click that button, that's when the stream ends, even though it's still up in the little corner thing says you're live or whatever, because it's still like loading everything. I don't really know, because StreamYard has like a built-in delay for like that's like a few seconds because it's on its own like special server before it like transfers over to YouTube and all that stuff. So maybe it just seems like there's a delay for the end of the stream when there actually isn't. And maybe it just seems like there's a delay for the start of the stream when it actually isn't. But I've tried to like look back at some of my live streams and like try to see how I have to actually time it out. And I think I've gotten pretty good at it. Now, I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to, I'm not sure if anybody's ever noticed, but chat has never once said anything about it. Where at the end of the live stream, I'll hit the outro video, and then instead of ending the stream right at the end of the outro video, we have our own little like post credits thing going where Gina will just grab any little stuffed animal thing or whatever that's in arm's reach and just like put it right up on the screen and just like the outro music, and we were gonna keep doing that or whatever until somebody eventually said something about it, or well, we were gonna probably just keep doing it after that anyway. But I was hoping that somebody would eventually be like, you know, say something about it, like have a final chat. Like, I love how Gina always has something in her hand at the end of the stream, or whatever, something along those lines. I was hoping somebody would eventually say something, but I don't know if anybody actually sticks around and waits until like the very last second until the stream actually ends, or if people are just quick to jump over to something else. But that's always been at the end of the stream. Well, maybe not always. Sometimes she doesn't have something to grab or whatever. So last second what? And oh well, you're just here. What's up, Silver Creek? Sometimes at the end of the stream, instead of the video ending right at the end of the outro video, we have our own little post credits thing where Gina will have like a little stuffed animal or whatever in her hand and hold it right up to the screen and like do the outro music and stuff and have the little thing dance on the front of the camera. I crack up at it every time, and I really hope that it's brought joy to somebody other than Gina and myself. But then again, as long as it makes Gina and myself happy, who really cares? But I just don't know if anybody's ever caught that. We do it a lot of the time, but anyway, because of the way Streamyard updated, that won't happen anymore. At least unless I intentionally make it happen. Because now I have the outro video set as an actual outro video since they allow us to do that. And so when I hit end stream, it'll play the outro video, and once the outro video is over, the stream ends. So I don't have to worry about trying to time it perfectly myself anymore. Every smile spreads joy. That sure does. It sure does. Being employed and almost never getting enough pay. So, dude, yeah. That's what sucked about working at like Target and like the pet store and stuff, was at certain points, like, it seems like I would be making enough money to actually get going, but then it's like the hours were limited, and so instead of, it's like, yeah, I'm making $17 an hour. Well, not anymore, but when I worked at Target, I was making like $17 an hour to be a manager, and but then at certain point, like when I was a manager, I was at 40 hours too. But then there was certain times that near the end when I was like quitting and stuff, that our hours were getting so limited that even the managers, like, I was only working like 32 hours a week. And, and then maybe not 32. There were some days it was a little bit less than 40, but that's because I was trying to save hours and, help out some of my employees. So I was like cutting my own hours too. But when I started working at the pet store, I started making like $18 an hour, maybe it was $17.50, something like that. But my boss quickly demoted me after so much time, and then demoted me again. And then after she demoted me twice, then she just like put me in front of the cash register, wouldn't let me do anything else. And then was like cutting my hours and all that too. And so that sucked. And I remember talking about all that in live streams, years ago. How it's like it was, on one hand, it was great because I had so much time to, be at home and working on all my fish tanks and hanging out with all my animals and all that other stuff. But I was like not making enough money well, I was spending way more money than I should have back then for sure. And yeah. I'm lucky I had a credit card and some other stuff and my dad to help me out. But I'm pretty good now. And now you gotta find some other crap. People like to be taught about nature, fish, and plants. We live in a world where many don't know much about how nature works. Yeah, that's true. And that's why they go to YouTube. You are also a great guy who can play the guitar and sing. Once you become a yeah, friendly rocker. Yeah. Music teacher. No, I'm not a teacher. I can show people how to do things that, like, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't feel like I'm a good teacher. Some people have said I'm a good teacher, and sometimes it's pretty easy to teach certain things, but I don't have what it takes to be a qualified music teacher for sure. And starting a business is like super hard nowadays. 70% of businesses fail within the first 2 years. I bet there are a lot of young future rock stars who can beg their parents for cash to learn the guitar. Yeah, but here's the thing is I'm not that good at guitar. I make it look that way. I sure do a good job of making it look that way. And I can play better than somebody that can't play guitar at all. But there are so many people out there that are a much better guitar player than I am. And I would be having to like look at all their stuff in order to even teach somebody anything. I'm like Dave Grohl when it comes to guitar. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just really good at making it look like I know how to play guitar. Same with like a lot of different instruments. Now, I was taught music from a very young age. Like I started playing recorder when I was like 5, and then like piano. I had a saxophone when I was 9 years old. Like I was taught a lot about music from a very young age, and I've been singing all stuff. I have like years of practice when it comes to like singing and like music in general. But I'm very much out of practice when it comes to playing a lot of different instruments. And I can pick up a lot of instruments, and I can play a song on a lot of different instruments, but I couldn't teach somebody how to play that instrument because technically I really don't know how to play that instrument. I know like mechanically how it works, and I can hear the notes, and I can figure out when I'm playing something wrong and like mess around with the fingerings until I find the right note. And then I memorize that in my head and all that. Like, that's how I learned how to play guitar. Like, it started out like I had a couple like books about like chords. And so I learned a little bit about playing some chords. But my very first guitar was an electric guitar, and I taught myself. And I had already been playing saxophone for like 7 years at that point. And I got my first guitar when I was like 16. And so I played a little bit of chords, but then after that, like, I just started buying like tab books and stuff like that. And just like, I was like, I don't want to waste my time playing chords and stupid arpeggios and whatever else. I just want to start playing songs. And so that's what I did. I bought, like, my very first book that I bought was it was Mesmerized by System of a Down, and like the very first song I learned how to play was BYOB. And so I looked up a book that told me what tab I had to play, and I just memorized that. And then I learned how to play BYOB, and I screwed around. A lot of the stuff I just screw around and I figure it out and I play it by ear. And you can't teach that to someone. That just takes years and years and years of practice. Like, to have an ear for music and just to be able to pick up an instrument and make it work. First song I learned was Chop Suey. Yeah, System of a Down for a win. And then after I learned BYOB, then I tried to learn the entire CD, where then I could just go song by song by song and just play the entire CD in whole. And there's a couple of the songs that I really struggled with, and some of it was because actually either the tablature was incorrect or they tabbed it and like they also changed the tuning of the guitar or something like that, because just some of it just didn't quite sound right. And I know sometimes they don't always tell you, but bands will have specially tuned guitars. That's why, for those of you that have, gone out and seen rock concerts or any concert where somebody's like playing a guitar or whatever, that's why they'll change guitars. It's not just for show. Like, certain guitars have certain tones and sounds. Sometimes it's not about the key the guitar is in. Maybe they have like 3 or 4 guitars that are all tuned to standard E, or maybe all drop D, depending on what type of music they play. But they will, each guitar kind of sounds different, so they'll use it in different songs to get a different sound, a different tone, and all of that. But then they'll have other guitars that are tuned to a different key. They might, instead of E standard, maybe that's in C standard, because the guitar, maybe that song, they just wanted it in a lower key, or, that's what capos are for, to, make the song, like, make the neck smaller on the guitar so you're playing up higher and all that. But that's why they'll change guitars. And, all the saxophones are in different keys too. An alto sax, a tenor sax, a baritone sax. You get more tubing. Every single one plays the same. And when you go and you look at that music, like, every single time you play the first note on a saxophone, it's a B. So, like, I could teach somebody how to play a saxophone to a point, because no matter which saxophone you pick up, this is B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Every saxophone is the same fingering, and the music is transposed into the key of your instrument. So if the alto sax and the tenor sax are playing in unison, their music will be transposed into different notes. So the alto sax may be playing a G, and the tenor sax may be playing a I don't know. I'm not sure what is correct. I can't transpose it off the top of my head here. It was like in D instead. They're like the tenor sax is playing in D, on his instrument, and then the alto sax is playing in G. But when you're listening to it, it's the same note because these alto sax is an E flat instrument and the tenor sax is a B flat instrument. The tenor sax and a trumpet, if you just go no keys and you just hit a solid note, what is a C standard on that instrument, if you play it on the piano, that C on that instrument is going to be relevant to a different key on the piano. The piano is in the natural tuning of like the universe or whatever. It's C standard on the piano. So if you play C on a piano, that is C. If you play C on a trumpet and a tenor saxophone and a like a clarinet, a C on a clarinet, a trumpet, and a tenor saxophone are B flat on the piano. And if you play C standard on like an alto saxophone and a alto clarinet and I'm trying to think what else is in E flat. I can't remember what else is in E flat. Anyway, most instruments are in B flat or E flat for some reason. But then you have like the French horn, which is in F, and then yeah. Anyway, that's just a bunch of stuff that most of y'all are just like, what? You might have a general understanding of what I'm talking about, but you probably just don't even care. Oh, I gotta scroll up in chat here. Everyone knows the intro to Smoker on the Water. We don't count. Well, yeah, and that's why that's a forbidden song. You're not allowed to play that in Guitar Center. If you play Smoker on the Water, they will kick you out. If I can play Missing a Finger and my other fingers are stupid, anyone can learn it. Yeah. I'm missing part of my finger too. I struggle with that's why I kind of struggle with standard like chord playing, but I can do more of like leads and stuff like that. But yeah, like chords where I have to like use this finger to like it doesn't naturally reach all the way across the guitar. So I have to like, really wrap it around, and it's like super uncomfortable to play an F chord. And an F chord is uncomfortable for every guitar player, for real. It's just an awkward chord, but for having a short index finger, it definitely makes a difference. But man, I see this guy playing guitar every so often when I'm flipping through shorts, and he's like, he barely has a hand at all. Like his arm is all like super short, and his hand is like super deformed, like both of his hands. And he's just like ripping away at these awesome solos and stuff. And it's just like anybody can do it. You just have to like really sit down and want to do it. Like I am a full believer that anybody can pretty much do anything that they set their mind to if they're willing to do the work to do it. Like, you can be 300 pounds But you can eventually get to the right weight that you need to be. You just have to be willing to actually do the work to get there. Anybody can shred guitar. It just takes a few years and lots of practice. Anybody can fly a plane. You can't just go fly a plane right now. You're going to have to get lots of practice and all that stuff. But you go to pilot school and you go through all the different training and stuff, and you practice and you practice and you practice. They let you fly the plane eventually, and then you can do anything you want, man. The only thing holding you back is yourself. Me, I just don't want to do much. I've already done a lot, so. Yeah, been over a decade now, right? Or you can be stuck with an oboe where every reed makes a different sound and you better whittle them down yourself. Dude, yeah. And then all the reeds and stuff. See, man, like the embouchure, right? The way that you hold your mouth to play the instrument. Everybody's is slightly different. It's like a certain way that you hold your mouth to control the instrument and to control the sound and to make sure you're on key and all that other stuff. Yeah, oboes have a double reed, and so they both vibrate, and it's crazy. Bassoon is the same thing. It's just like an extra large oboe. If you want to, why not try living with other artsy people, living like hippies for a while to find out what you want to do, kind of. I regret not doing so when I was 20. Well, because I don't trust the hippies. No. That's actually what I'm kind of talking about when at the beginning of the stream and stuff, when I was talking about how, getting land with my sister and my brother-in-law and building my home there and living, in a community of people that, we all help each other with our farms and like animals and all that other stuff. And, it'd be great. I would love the way my sister and my brother-in-law live, man. I would love to live like that. And the thing is, I have the knowledge to live like that. I just don't have the ability by myself to live like that. It's nearly impossible for one person to actually do that. You need a community of people to actually do it. So I would love to do it with my sister and my brother-in-law. They're free. That sounded. That's not what I meant. I would love to live in a community with my sister and my brother-in-law and their kids and growing our own food, raising our own animals, and just living debt-free in our own little world where we can just live in peace. Go join people. Yeah. Well, yeah. The thing is, I don't like a lot of people. The one of the people that I would have actually lived in a community with, he's now, he's down in southeast Missouri, and my old roommate. Who knows? Maybe we can bring him back one of these days. Minus you, right? Yeah. That's not what it meant. I think your Google Translate didn't help. Yeah. Yeah, but no, start not often easy finding okay people. Yeah, there we go. That's what I thought you were trying to say. Yeah, it's not. And so but that's the thing is, if I already had, something going too, you know, it would be easier. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe not. I don't really. It might be easier to find like a wife down the road that would be more willing to live that type of life if I already had that type of life. Um, and even if I don't find a wife or whatever, well then, you know, I have my community of people already to do that, to live life with. So, and then when the world hits the fan, or the shit hits the fan in the world, and World War III starts and all that stuff, well, then I get down to my little man cave bunker and wait it out. And anyway, uh, that would be awesome. I do wonder about like internet and stuff though. Like if you're out in like the middle of nowhere, you'd have to pay a significant amount of money to get any sort of like um like hardline like fiber optic internet. You'd probably use like satellite internet. Oh yeah, could use Starlink. Use that Elon Musk internet stuff. I guess that's out there now. But it's like, yeah, I don't want to live off grid per se. Like I want to live my life free to actually do what I want to do and not be like poisoned by all this food and stuff, you know? Because I mean, that's what was so great, like about working for Schwann's. Like it was really good food. Some of it was still like genetically modified, which honestly kind of makes me mad. Um, that so much of it was like genetically modified, but at least it was like full of nutrition and like all that other stuff. And yeah, I bought a deep freeze and I stocked up like crazy on a whole bunch of that food too. Um, but I like love venison so much, and like all these other things, and real like you know how expensive it is to go out there and buy grass fed beef, but if you have your own grass fed beef, like a luxury hippie. Yeah. I'm getting tired of it. Yeah. I'm getting tired over here too. I still got like a half hour to stream left. But like, oh my god. I have not had a full day of like getting to like sleep recover yet from this long week of working long hours. And because like some days I didn't get home until 8 p.m., like I found myself doing so many different things or whatever that I still wouldn't get to bed until I don't know, like midnight or something like that. And, I'm only working off of like 6 hours of sleep. 6 hours of sleep, working long days, and then yeah, Friday was a pretty long day too, and I stayed up and I tried to go to bed at a decent time. Actually, I went to bed at I think maybe 11. I say a decent time, but then I had to still wake up early this morning to go play in the golf tournament. And it's like, yeah, I guess I didn't have to play in the golf tournament, but I had already paid my entry fees and all that stuff, and I wanted to play. But normally on these Saturdays, I'll just sleep until I feel like getting out of bed. Sometimes it's all the way until 11 a.m. Most of the time I get up before 10. Look. But living the farming life or whatever, I'd have to, get up and do all different sort of stuff. Yeah. But I'd have help. It wouldn't necessarily all be on me. And then, bigger garden is just always much more fun to have. And then all the chickens and the turkeys, and we can have cows. Yeah. Cool stuff. If you own your own apartment, try to find some trustworthy, to rent on to. And yeah. Well, I already own my own house, so I don't need any sort of apartment. It's a 3-bedroom house. So one bedroom is my bedroom. Second bedroom is, well, this. And the third bedroom is like, I just got a bunch of storage and stuff in there. I could potentially move it out of there and find somewhere else to put some of those things. And some of the stuff that's in there, I really just don't even need. So I could clear out the third bedroom and potentially rent that out to somebody. But I like living alone. So there's that. I don't want to put any visuals in anybody's head, so I'm just going to keep my mouth quiet. But I like living alone. There's just certain perks to living alone that I just really like. So, yeah. Yeah. It definitely comes in like weird waves and stuff too. A lot of the times I'll be, you know, able to keep my composure about the whole thing, but uh, I've had some of my customers get a little sappy with me about how it's, oh, you're such a nice boy and I'm really gonna miss you and all that stuff. And it's just like, damn it, you're gonna make me cry. Because it's true though. Like, I'm sad I have to say goodbye to a lot of these people. A lot of them I've known for like 3 years, and I've been working with them for a long time, and we've talked about a lot of different stuff, and I've watched their kids growing up, and like I'm the conversation around their dinner table and whatever else, and some of them we've even like, you know, I got a fish tank from one of them. Like I go to my customers' houses sometimes when I'm not even like actually working, and it's nice to see them out and about. I just ran into one of them at Deerberg's, the grocery store, the other day, and that's really cool too. Cool people. So I like people. I hate people. I like people at the same time. But that's why I like to live alone, because then I can go and do all my peopling, and then I can come back and just chill and be alone. And then after spending some time alone, of course, pop on YouTube and start learning some more things and some different stuff. It's pretty quiet chat tonight. Then again, chat always seems to be more popping whenever we're streaming on Gina's channel as well. And that's just a lot of the things. YouTube doesn't like me, they throttle my channel. And then, there's also, I don't know. This is probably a lot of people that just tune in because of Gina as well versus, tuning in because of me. Some people actually straight up think that it's like Gina's show and that I'm the co-star or the guest host or whatever. And I do try to make this show just as much Gina's as it is mine. But it's like we did start on this on my channel, and it was originally like me and Biz doing this at first, and then it was me and Gina streaming. So it's like it is just as much Gina's show as it is mine, but like I don't know. It's my show still. Like it's on my channel. But we do stream on Gina's channel as well. People trust and like you, that's a good thing. They would probably prefer you before anyone else if working with someone else as well. Yeah. Maybe not prefer me over anybody else necessarily, but they definitely have enjoyed working with me, which, is touching as well. Um, so yeah, that's what makes it, kind of sad too. It's like you build up like a relationship with these people. I'd say I don't know how many of you guys have like worked in like any of like the service industry. Oh, the Clash is on, or perhaps some are doing. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. The Clash is going on right now this weekend, isn't it? Okay. Didn't even think about that. Um, but what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I don't know how many of you guys have like worked in the service industry, like any of it at all, whether it be like a grocery store or um, you know, gas station, whatever else. Anywhere where there's like customers, right? You know, you see people, they come in, they go. A lot of the times, like you might see some faces that you start to recognize as like people that come in a lot, but a lot of them is just like it's just a new face, a new person, and you just kind of go through that guest service sort of like, hi, how you doing today? Hope you're having a great one. Well, is there anything else I can get you? All right, so that'll be $14.95. Thank you very much, and you have a great one. Thanks. You know, you just kind of do the motion, and you don't really, I don't know, like you're not connecting with anybody. You're not like, it's just customer interaction, you know. And some of my people, I don't see as a lot. They're kind of more of a will call. They just order every so now and then. So there are people that it is just kind of more of like a customer related interaction. But then imagine now, instead of, people coming in and going and people coming in and going all the time, imagine if it was a very, like, pretty much a set schedule of like the same 500 people. Or no, 500 is too big of a number. Let's see. I got 60 stops a day and I work 10 days. Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll say 500, 600 people. Okay. So 500 people, right? You got 500 customers. That's how many you have. And it's the same 500 customers every 2 weeks. But, you see like, 50 of them every day. So one day is one set of 50, the next day is another set of 50, and the next day is another set of 50. And you have a bi-weekly schedule where every 2 weeks your schedule goes back around and you start seeing the same group of customers again. So basically, I've seen all my people, not all my people, I've seen a majority of my customers every 2 weeks for the last like 3 years. Like, the conversations start to get deeper and all that different stuff. And you see people the same time, and it's like, they're always happy because you always have a smile on your face, and whatever else sort of thing like that. And they always make you feel good too because they always have a smile on their face. And then, you go back 2 weeks later and they're telling you that, oh, I'm not doing so good. My mom's in the hospital right now and whatever else. They tell you their life stories, and you just start to just really build a super strong relationship with some of these people. I'm really going to miss going to some of these people's houses every 2 weeks and talking to them about anything and everything. Some of them are kind of some cute chicks, and it's just nice to get to talk to some cute chicks, every 2 weeks and be like, hey, how you doing, babe? Like, not, I don't get all super flirty like that. maybe I do a little bit, but not like crazy. Not harassment level. Um, done service jobs for 30 years. There's certain people that are good for service, and there's certain people that aren't. There's the behind the scenes people, there's the on the floor people, there's all that different stuff, and I always preferred to be more the behind the scenes, but I've really enjoyed being kind of out there more, and like this job really did like put me out there, like knocking on people's doors. There's always there's that new customer that they ordered online and you never met this person, and you're knocking on the door of somebody you never met, and you're meeting them for the first time, and you're kind of trying to impress them a little bit because giving them a good service makes them want to come back and order more. I kind of been dating this one girl that I've been servicing. Anyway, I got to step away again. Sorry. I will be right back. Ugh. Sorry about that. Been having some issues here. But yeah, that's why, it'd be great to work at my it'd be great to work at my family's hardware store, because there's been people that have been going there for a long time. There's people there that know my family and go shopping there and already know me. And so, some of them are already regulars of mine. Some of my customers that I have right now, that I've even mentioned that I've been trying to maybe work at my old family's hardware store, like they're like, oh, I know, like they know Overland Hardware. And though I'm not like the handyman type, and I don't have a lot of information as far as like what sort of electric socket you need, or what, I might not know all the information, but I'm really passionate about the business itself and making it work. And uh it's my grandfather's legacy. Like, him and his brothers started Overland Hardware like 75 years ago, and it's still owned and operated by my family. And as far as I know, I didn't double check for sure, but as far as I know, it doesn't have any like big box store affiliations or anything like that at all, which is really hard to find nowadays. You go to your local hardware store, most of them are like a True Value or a Handyman, or they're like an Ace Hardware or something like that. You don't have like a family owned like little hardware store anymore. And I would love to keep it that way. And then, also, like, it's similar to like, it's like a miniature like Home Depot or whatever too, to where like they sell like starter plants and stuff seasonally. And I got all these ideas of like really trying to boost those plants, like not just have your most basic plants and stuff, but try to get some different stuff in there as well to try to bring in more people. Because like yeah, everybody wants their Roma tomatoes and their all those different stuff, but if we get some other varieties of things in there too, there's a lot of people that want that sort of stuff. It's and I'd love to get like some really good like heirloom things, maybe have start my own starters using Baker's Creek seeds, because Baker's Creek has a lot of heirloom stuff or whatever. And it'd be great to do Baker's Creek stuff. um and turn it into not just like your little hardware store, but also sell like my sister's soaps. And I have so many plants. My sister has so many plants and stuff. Like, we can make starter plants from our own plants that pop up little like volunteer little shoots and things like that. I can always make a little starter plant, like a little starter thing from my raspberries, because they pop up new stuff all the time. My blackberries pop up new stuff all the time. When my strawberries start going better, I can always, split up my strawberries every year and, sell half of my strawberry plants or whatever. Because they just kind of keep growing and you need to thin them out anyway, or else they just kind of grow over on top of each other and start killing each other anyway. So you thin them out and then it fills back in, and then you thin it back out and you fill it back in. So sell starter plants. Doing hours in a family, getting hours while playing the new future. Exactly. And yeah, I really like it. And I got so many fond memories of like going to that place as a kid. You know, and taking a trip with my dad there with the blades of the lawnmower to go get the blades sharpened up using their grinder that they had, and stuff like that. And I think that was like a free service too. Like you could just come in and get your lawnmower blades sharpened for free, I believe. And you know, maybe it was just free for me and my dad. My dad would always do it himself too. And whereas like, you know, other people, they would have like, you know, somebody at the hardware store actually do it. But yeah, I remember doing that. And my dad, when he was a kid, well, I say a kid, you know, like a teenager or whatever, he would work at the hardware store too, you know, moving mulch for people, doing all different sorts of stuff. So I would really love to start working there. I just right now I talked to my cousin today at the golf tournament, and he said like right now it doesn't look like he has anything available, like, you know, currently. Um but my sister and my brother-in-law said if they buy the hardware store, like I'll definitely have a job there no matter what. Um and that's great. But we're going to have to kind of wait on that. So I at least need to find something for the short term until the hardware store is ready. Because I think my sister and they're going to sit down and talk more numbers and stuff like next week, I believe. So stuff will start rolling, but it's going to take a while to get everything, you know, transferred over and all that stuff. Nothing nothing might be official until January of 2025 or something like that. So you seem to have a good thing there. Not everyone got another job waiting for them when losing the one you have. Just keep on being the great guy you want and things will work out fine for you. Yeah, see, I always just kind of live my life like I try like I like I don't want to. Like, I'm not religious or whatever, but there's really no way to put this in any of like a religious person would say like I live my life by trusting God. Like God will find me the job that, you know, that I deserve or whatever. You know, there's that. Like, that's what a religious person would say. I mean, I'm not religious, though. I kind of have that same sort of like mentality. Like I'm trying to see where life is going to take me next. And I kind of go with the flow. Um, I had no intentions of ever working at Schwann's, you know, a decade ago. I never would have thought about it at all. I love the food and all that different stuff. I never would have thought of working there. And it just like everything just kind of fell in place when it came to Schwann's. And like my mom's Schwann's guys said that they were hiring. I happened to be like looking for a job at the time. My mom just kind of sent me a random email and it was like, Schwann's, huh? That might actually be interesting to, drive the truck around and, bring food to people. And I ended up filling out an application and found that. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now is I still have all the way until the end of November until my paychecks stop. Whether I, work all the way until November or not. Now, if I quit, my paychecks stop, of course. But, I mean, if we run out of product, and there's no more work for us to go out for, they still have, like, secured our pay until the end of November. Everything shuts down on November the 22nd, which means with my weekly paychecks, I would get my last paycheck on November the 29th. So as long as I stick it out till the end, no matter when the end comes, whether it be the middle of October or right at the end of October, or if we make it all the way until like that first week in November or something like that, they're saying the latest day that we're going to run routes is November the 8th. The latest day that I'll have to report to work no matter what is going to be on November the 15th. But yeah, the last day I'll actually receive a paycheck will be on November 29th. So I have all the way until the end of November to really where like I have to have a job. I'm not trying to push it off. I want to start getting the ball rolling on something soon. But I'm kind of seeing what's out there. One of my customers her husband, like she mentioned to her husband or whatever that we were going out of business, and he works for Coca-Cola. And he was saying that he could potentially, if I was interested, help me get a job with Coca-Cola where I could drive a small truck for them and, do like stocking grocery stores or whatever else with the small trucks. And then, Coca-Cola apparently like pays and trains people to get their CDLs where I could eventually get my commercial truck driver license and drive the big rigs for Coca-Cola or something like that too. So that's, that's out there. Another one of my customers, she is on the sales side of hospice care. She's got a certain company that does hospice care and has like the hospice nurses and all that stuff. And so she is like the sales manager to where like she like tells people about the service and tries to get them to, choose her service. And she kind of, mentioned that to me where she could potentially help me get on board with that. So I've been trying to listen to my customers. I've been listening to lots of different people and just trying to really see what's out there. Because, you don't always get an opportunity like what I'm in right now where, I know that I'm going to lose my job, but I haven't lost my job yet. And so, like, I have time to find something else, but I'm not, like, desperately trying to find something else right away. I've been fired from jobs before. I've quit a job or two. But yeah, I'm just really happy. I don't know if it's a national law or something, but there was some sort of WARN Act that they had, like I had to sign or whatever, where I guess they were required to tell us 2 months in advance or whatever. Like they gave us like a 60-day notice, and I'm glad they did that. I don't know if it was a requirement because it was like a WARN Act. It was what it was called. I don't know what WARN stands for because it was in all capitals. So I guess it's a, freaking Google. What do I have? That WARN Act. Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act helps ensure advance notice in cases of qualified plant closings and mass layoffs. Okay. So it was enacted in the 100th United States Congress in 1988. Okay, so companies of a certain size, I guess, are required to give like a 60-day notice, which is cool and it's good. And I'm glad that they did that because there used to be like a really awesome, like small restaurant chain here in the St. Louis area called Casa Gallardo. And they were awesome. It was like really, really good, like Spanish Mexican style food. Really one of the best Spanish restaurants in the area. Now we got some new ones. We got like El Maguey, we got Chimmy's, that are kind of like local chains. But Casa Gallardo was the best. And it was great, but there, I guess, they just eventually like they went out of business, and there was like really no explanation to anything. All the workers and stuff like showed up to work and they had no idea. And they're clocking out, and then their managers and stuff are telling them, like, hey, you don't need to worry about coming into work tomorrow because we're out of business. We're closed. You're all fired. Like, that would suck. So many of the employees had no idea that the business was going out of business until the last day. And like it was even like on the news too, like how they did it. Like people are just completely distraught. It was crazy. If you show and share love, chances people want to show you love as well. I've seen it many times. Just add some ambition to learn more, and it will take you forward for sure. Dreaming big is okay, but often the risk is you will fall hard. But dreaming is good enough is not that bad. Or dreaming of good enough is not that bad. Get you forward one step at a time. A lot can be learned along the way too. Yep. Yep. And on that note, I think it's time for me to go to bed and start dreaming in another way. I am tired as hell. We hit the 2 hour mark. um, once again, thanks for joining me and all that. Sorry Gina couldn't be with us. I hope Kane is doing well. I am not exactly sure what happened, what led up to what, but she went into the hospital with Kane yesterday at least, maybe even before that. And her son Kane was in the ICU and all that. He was struggling and all that different stuff. And I'm not sure of all the details, but I kind of asked today, like I asked for like an update, and she said that, he was doing fine, that his blood work shows some imbalances and they're trying to get everything in the proper range today. And he should, apparently he hasn't been eating, or I'm not sure if he's been on like a feeding tube or just hasn't been eating or what, but they're going to offer him food again tomorrow or Monday and see if he holds it down. When he's awake, he's a little uncomfortable, but generally himself, just weak. So yeah, he's doing okay, but her son is struggling pretty hardcore. They're keeping him. It seems like they're keeping him hooked up to a lot of different stuff. So definitely keeping him in our thoughts and prayers and all that stuff. And, just hoping for the best. I said it seems like he's going to be okay and all that, but, I know that's really scary. And, I hate for a mother to have to go through that stuff. And I just feel really bad that she's having to go through all this and that Kane's having to go through all this. And I know what it's like to, have to see somebody that you love dearly hooked up to a whole bunch of different machines and all of that. And that is just not fun by any means. So I just really hope that everything ends up being, okay with that situation. But yeah, hopefully she'll be back next week and everything will be okay. We'll see what happens. I should be here next week. No problems. I think, yeah. I should be here too, so. Okay. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. You couple guys that hung out the whole time. Yeah. We'll see you next week on another episode of Fishing Friends. So long. Thanks for the fish.